Hey, good evening, everybody, man. I want to welcome you guys to the Conversation 9-8, and I'm happy to be back on again, man. And I hope all is well. I don't know what's been going on, man. This thing has been crazy, but hopefully you guys can see me on, and I'm excited about being on and looking forward to the conversation for tonight. But man, all is well. Back again on this thing, back again doing this again, and I just don't know what is going on. But hey, we here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me, and we're gonna go ahead on it and get started with this thing. But I hope all is well. I hope everything is going well with everybody, and I'm truly excited about being on with you guys again today. Uh, but yeah, all is well, and looking forward to the conversation for tonight. Uh, Because guess what? The night is a good one. It's a conversation that's something that's kind of personal. Be very transparent tonight on some things, but I just wanted to have a good, honest, and open conversation. I hope all is well. I don't know what is going on with my personal page, but hey, it is what it is. But hey, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know. Yes, let me know where you're tuning in from, and feel free to dive in. Feel free to interact. This is an interactive show, and uh, that's what I look forward to. Uh, look forward to every day. I mean, every week I look forward to the conversation and looking forward to uh, the dialogue. But outside of that, man, we're gonna go ahead on and get started with the conversations for tonight. And tonight conversation is a good one, and it's one that I think that is going to be very relatable for a lot of people. And I think it's going to be relatable for a lot of people because it really hit home. But tonight we're going to talk about a wounded heart and ear will view and see the world differently. A wounded heart and ear will hear, it will view and see the world differently. You know, a lot of times what happened is what we don't really think about is when we are in a space to where we're wounded, we're hurt, we're dealing with betrayal, pain, or we're going through a traumatic experience, how we view and see the world will be completely different. You will hear differently and you will see differently. And it's all coming from a place of that hurt. And that hurt will get in a way, and it will, a lot of ways, contaminate how we view and see the world. It will, and it will contaminate it in a way where we will perceive things that are not what they are. We'll perceive them differently because we are hurt, because we're going through those things, because we are dealing with things. And that can leave us to that can put us in a space where we begin to block our own blessing because we see and view the world differently. We'll begin to block our own blessings. I'm talking about really block our own blessings. And the reason why we block our own blessing is because we don't realize how much the hurt can impact us. And I know a lot of us, it's hard. It's hard for a lot of us. It's hard for a lot of us to really get to the space to understand that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is when you're in a space to where you're hurt and you're dealing with traumatic and hurtful things, be careful. It is so important to take inventory of what you're feeling, because I can remember being in a space to where I was dealing with hurt, I was dealing with pain, and the first thing I did was try to convince myself that I was okay, and I'm good, I'm good, I'm struggling, but I'm good, I'm good. And in that space, what I didn't even realize is trying to convince myself that I'm good. It never gave me the space to acknowledge that I was hurt. Yeah, yeah, to acknowledge that I was hurt. Uh, so that's what I wanted to address and be able to deal with it and talk about, because uh, that was something that was hurtful to me, and the reason why it was hurtful to me was because I had to get to a space to acknowledge it so that I can start to heal from it. I'm dead serious. I had to get to a space where I had to begin to acknowledge it so that I can heal from it. You know, the thing about it is, and one thing I want us to understand when I say a wounded heart and ear will view and see the world differently. Uh, one thing about it is one of the key things. one of the most critical things when you're talking about healing and growth and you going on a journey of healing is you have to acknowledge and take full responsibility and take full acknowledgement and ownership of where you at emotionally in that space. And the reason why I say that is a lot of us, what we do is we keep ourselves in a constant state of denial as if we are okay, and we don't be okay. That's why it's so hard. That's why we'll tell ourselves, hey, we're okay, I'm good. But that's why I say a wounded heart and ear will view and see the world differently, because when you convincing yourself that you're good, somebody can come to you and they're offering help, but you won't even see it as help. You'll see it as an attack because you're putting up a false sense of security around yourself. And you're not even being honest with yourself about how you feel and where you at emotionally in that space. And that's a very dangerous space to be in. Why? Because you'll begin to push away the help that God and other people will be bringing to you. You'll begin to push away the help. And how do I know? I did it. Man, I did it. I'm not speaking from a place of, oh, this is, something I read in a book. I'm talking about something that I live. I'm telling you, man, a wounded heart and a wounded ear, I would tell you, man, that's a dangerous thing. And what people don't realize, and I want people to understand this. I really want people to understand this. I want people to understand this. A wounded heart and a wounded ear, when you are in a space like that, man, you will begin to look at people who never did anything wrong to you, who've always been there for your well-being. You'll begin to view them as if they're trying to attack you, but you're feeling attacked because they are coming to a space and they're addressing a space where you need help, but you need to convince yourself that you don't need help because you're good. No, you need to talk about that. You need to address that. You need to be honest with yourself and say, man, I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well. And that's not a knock on you, because the reality is nobody is perfect. Nobody got all the answers. And there are going to be many times throughout our lives that we are going to need help from other people. You can't do this journey on life, this 4-letter word called life, on your own. We're going to need help from people. So getting to a space to where you can at least acknowledge that you need help is one of the first critical steps to getting help, so that you won't be stuck in a space of chaos. I'm telling you, you won't be stuck in a space of chaos. Hey, what's up, Leandrew, man? Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, I want us to really think about that. And I want to dive in deep and talking about, being somebody who dealt with this. I want to discuss it because a lot of people suffer in silence with it. And that's a sad reality, but it is what it is. But a lot of people suffer in silence on things in reference to stuff like dealing with asking for help, dealing with being wounded, dealing with being hurt, because they feel as if other people are not going to understand, or they feel vulnerable. So they don't want to ask for help because they're already in a state of vulnerability because of what may have happened to them, what traumatic experience may have happened to them. And I would tell you, I was in that space. I was in the space where, boom, this thing happened to me. So I'm a double down. I'm going to do everything I need to do to get it right. And I'm working hard and I'm doing everything in my power. And I am being burnt out. I need help. But I was too afraid to ask for help because I felt like if I asked for help, that's me being vulnerable. And by me being vulnerable, that made me look weak. And I didn't want to seem weak because I was already hurt, because I felt like I was too weak to protect myself from the hurt. I felt that I was too weak to protect myself from the hurt. Now think about that. If you sit down and you think about that, you'll realize, like, dang, that's kind of crazy. That right there is kind of crazy. But that just was the reality of what I was dealing with in that moment. I'm just being honest with you. That right there was the reality of what I was dealing with in that moment. And the good thing about it is, the good thing that I really appreciate is God allowed me to grow in that space and see myself. Now, what am I talking about? Now, you saying, Shep, what do you mean? Asking for help is a necessity in a lot of us getting our breakthroughs and growing out of situations. A lot of stuff that we need help with, we stay stuck in bad situations and circumstances because we allow our pride and our egos to get into place, and because we refuse to ask for help. And one of the reasons why we don't want to ask for help is because we feel like we're good and we don't want nobody to know that we're going through it. Man, I'm telling you, stop staying stuck in spaces because you're too prideful to ask for help. telling you, ask for help. Don't be like me and spend all that time and you done have a nervous breakdown all because you're too prideful to say, hey, I just need some help. I need help. It's okay to say, I need help. There's nothing weak about that. What is weak is needing the help and being too prideful to say you need the help and you crashing and burning on your own. And the people closest to you are the ones suffering because you refuse to say, hey, I need help. I'm telling you. And I've been in that space, man. Look, I will tell you, and I want people to really understand, and this is I want to talk about this. One of the main reasons why I talked about this today. When I was a single dad and I had went through a divorce, I was a single dad with my son. I was going through it. I mean, going through it. I was in a whole new town, no family, no help. Every day, just me and my son. I was going through it. My mom and my dad called me and they had said, Robert, we've been praying. And if you need us to get Robert, you need to get your son. We can get him for a little bit. My wounded ears didn't say, hey, man, they here to help me. What I heard was, Robert, you're not a good parent, so you need us to come save you. That's what I heard. I got mad at my parents. I got offended. I got mad. I got in my feelings because I wasn't being real with myself. Now, I got mad, didn't say anything at the time, but I'm going to move on. Man, I almost had a nervous breakdown. And it was to the point where I broke down in front of my son, who was 3 years old at the time, and came and put his arm on my shoulder, said it was going to be all right. And I said, that's enough. I need help. You see what I'm saying? I had to get to that space. I had to get to that space. I felt, and listen, and I know, and this is going to help somebody. Sometimes accepting help may feel like you're failing because you putting all your energy and effort into making sure that you're good. But don't get caught up and let your ego and your pride play into the role to where you'll begin to view and see the world differently because you're afraid to ask for help. Sometimes the help is what is needed. Sometimes the help is what is answering the prayers. Sometimes God sends help to you because he knows you're too prideful and too stupid enough to ask for it. He'll send people to you. He'll send a support system to you. He'll send things to you to help alleviate a lot of the stress from your life. But we got to be open to receiving the help, because if we're not open to receiving the help, we'll view and see the world differently. Man, I can think back. Man, shout out to Carla. Shout out to Tiffany. Shout out to those people, man, that was in my circle that helped me in the space when I really needed it. I really needed those people around me. And I thank God for them, but I had to be open to receiving the help. I had to be open to receiving the help. And that is a space, man, that a lot of us, we deal with, man. And I would tell you, one of the things about it, and I want people to really think about it and really look at this, right? One thing the enemy wants us to do is he wants us to get in spaces where we're isolated, where he can isolate us by ourselves. And one of the things that he like to do is he wants us to suffer in silence and get prideful and don't ask for help. That's why in a wounded heart, what happens is he wants us to, we see and view the world differently because it distorts how we see it. The enemy wants you to stay where you at. He wants you to stay in dysfunction. He wants you to stay in chaos. He wants you to stay in that hurtful space, because in that hurtful space, the enemy can control you emotionally. He can manipulate you. And fear begins to be the driving force in that space. And the reason why he wants fear, because he wants to control you. That's why it's so important to acknowledge and take ownership of it and ask for help. And then you'll realize, dang, you've been struggling with this for a long time. But when you start getting help, that's when you start to realize, like, dang, that was easy. That's all I needed to do. That's why it's so important to ask and receive help. How you doing, Miss Joyce Jones? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, how you doing? Hicks Johnson said, we need to normalize the experience of struggling to dismantle the stigma of not being okay sometimes. We all struggle. Yes, we all struggle. Yeah, we all struggle. Like, I'm being honest with you. And I want us to really be open and honest about this. Contrary to popular belief, contrary to what people put on social media, contrary to what people portray, contrary to what people act like in church, contrary to what people act like in social settings, it don't matter how much money you make, what job you have, whatever. Everybody got stuff they deal with. Everybody. Nobody is exempt from hardship. Nobody is exempt from struggle. Nobody is exempt from life happening. Nobody. So stop getting caught up and feeling like because you're going through something, you're dealing with something, that is you're the only one. Because I can recall when I was going through it, the enemy kept trying to convince me that, hey, you the only one going through this, nobody understand. Man, that's a lie. And the reason why I know that was a lie, because when I started getting help and I started going to seeing a psychologist and I started going to counseling, the psychologist started allowing me to share my story with other people. And I realized my story wasn't unique. My story wasn't unique. And that really helped me realize, like, dang, I'm not the only one. Everybody else go through the same thing. And I'll tell you, don't allow the enemy to convince you that you're the only one going through something. Don't do that, because I'm telling you that isolation is where he likes to keep you. And one of the things when you sit down, and I want us to sit down and think about this and dissect this, right? I talk about healing on my show. I talk about a lot of different things on this show. But one of the things I want us to understand is isolation and a wounded heart. A wounded heart in isolation, not only will you see and hear the world and view the world differently, but it will keep you in a space to where you feel like everything you're doing, you're protecting your peace, but really you're just building your own prison. You're isolating yourself. And a lot of our breakthroughs are tied to people. A lot of our breakthroughs are tied to somebody else sharing their experience. That's why the Bible said you overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. God has given other people grace to endure certain things, and they can talk to you in certain ways where they can connect to you on levels that other people can't. Why? Because you can connect with them because you realize they done been through some stuff. So if you know they've been through some stuff, there's a empathetic connection. And it's like, dang, they understand me. And once you get to that space, you'll realize that's where a lot of the breakthrough in our healing is. That's why it's so important to just say, hey, I need help. That's why it's so important to not sit there and be isolated. That's why it's so important to walk this journey on life and realize that, hey, we are good. Now, I will tell you, a wounded heart, and I want people to understand this, right? The dangerous things about allowing your heart and ear to remain in the wounded space is how you begin to approach and view the world will be skewed. You'll destroy relationships. You'll destroy potential relationships. You will cause damage to those, your kids. You'll cause damage to those closest to you. All because you're operating out of fear. You're not operating out of love. You're operating out of fear, and fear seeks to control everything around it. Then you'll start to be manipulative. You'll start to be exhibiting narcissistic behaviors. You'll start to try to control everything around you, control people around you. Then you be moody. You want everybody to be like that. And then you set your mindset up that you try to start talking that foolishness like, oh, I'm just real. This is who I am. And I'm just this, that, and the third. No, you really a wounded little boy, or little girl, and you trying to control everything around you because you're too afraid to ask for help. You're too afraid to ask for help. And then in that space, people aren't going to want to be around you. I'm telling you, a lot of us, man, people are not going to want to be around you. People are not going to want to deal with you. Why? Because you are refusing to, first of all, acknowledge that something happened to you. One of the biggest things that I've learned in my life and in a situation where I was refusing and I had a wounded heart and a wounded ears and I was seeing and viewing the world differently. One of the things that I had to learn was I learned to first, hey, Robert, you got to acknowledge that, hey, I'm not doing well. I need help. Once I got to a space where I need help, man, everything, when I say everything, all of the help that I needed started happening. When I was sitting out on that floor, crying, bawling out, and my 4-year-old son come up and 3-4-year-old son come put his arm around me and said, Dad, it's going to be okay. That was my breaking point. Why? Because I said that is not his responsibility. It is not my child's responsibility to carry the burden of me not dealing with what my issues that I had. So by me making that decision, that's when I got up. That's when I called my mom and I accepted them helping me out with my son. That's when I started going to behavior health and I started going to counseling. That's when I started working and doing those things and working towards my healing. That's when I started doing those things. Now, why? Because that one, and this is the thing, man. This is why I want us to really think about this. But when we choose not to heal and deal with ourselves, we got to realize that's us trying to put the responsibility of our healing on other people. I refuse to put that on my 4-year-old child. That wasn't his responsibility to carry. What happened, it happened to me. It didn't happen to him. And a lot of us, we pass on generational trauma. We pass on hurt and pain to our kids because we refuse to pull up our own and put our big boy, big girl drawers on and start and take ownership and say, hey, this is what happened to me. I'm not going to suppress it. I'm not going to act like it didn't happen to me and pass it on to my kids. No, I'm going to take ownership of it. I'm going to say it because I don't want this to impact them because they had nothing to do with it. And the sad reality is many of us, we just pass it on to our kids, and our kids, generation after generation, have to deal with this buffoonery because we are too afraid to say, hey, this is what happened to me. I'm taking ownership of it. I'm taking ownership. And a lot of us, we don't even think about it. We don't think about it. We don't even think about the impacts and how it passed down, right? A wounded heart and a wounded ear. I'm telling you, look, I'm telling you, I want us to really think about this, but a wounded heart and wounded ears will always look at something as if somebody is trying to get over on them. And that's how they will approach the world. That's how they will view the world. That's how they will approach the world. And that's why you have a lot of issues. That right there is why you will have a lot of issues in your life. That's why your relationship suffers. That's why you can't build anything. That's why you can't have longevity and stuff, because you always looking for the worst in things because you're viewing it from that place of hurt. You're viewing it from that place of pain. You're viewing it and you're approaching it from that place of hurt and place of pain. And you're wondering, why in the world can I not have this? Because you're always looking at it to where, that's just too good to be true. Or you'll see somebody that have genuine motives. You always perceive that as something's negative because you don't realize you ain't take ownership of the fact that you hurt in the first place. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with that. That ain't on nobody else but, that ain't on nobody else but you. And why is it fair enough for you to walk in life like that and looking at other people and hoping that other people will just cater to you so you can feel comfortable? Let's not stay in the space. Let's not stay in that space. That's not a good space to be in. It is definitely not a good space to be in. But I would tell you, a wounded ear and a wounded eyes will always view and see the world differently. And healing is in a lot of times healing. And I want us to really understand this, right? Many times our healing is in our ability to, one, take ownership that you are hurt, and two, be willing enough to let your guard down and accept the help that is provided to you. And the reason why I'm saying that is a lot of times our healing comes when we accept the help from others, because what we don't realize is most of the time the help that we get from others are coming from places of grace that God extended grace to them to endure what they went through. So they're coming from a place to where it coming from a place of empathy to minister to whatever you're going through. They're there genuinely to help you. But if you never take ownership of what happened to you, you will always view and see the world from a place of they trying to get over on you or somebody trying to get at you. And you are pushed away the very help that God sent for you to help you get through your breakthrough. You'll push away that help. Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing, Jonathan? Hey, thanks for tuning in, man. But you'll push away that help. You will. I'm telling you, you will. And this is the thing. And people don't like to talk about it, but when you push away the help that God sends you because you're too busy operating in that wounded heart and a wounded ear space, when you push away that help, you'll find out that the space that you're standing in that is chaotic for you, dysfunctional for you, you're choosing to stay in that space because you don't even see that your breakthrough is coming from the help that he sends you. It's grace in that. Listen, that's why a lot of times we don't realize, man, a lot of times the things we go through, has nothing to do with us. It's because God give us grace to go through it and endure it so that we can be in a position to minister and help other people. And God allows certain things to happen so that we can be in a space to help other people. because he understands that he can give us grace to go through stuff that other people may not make it through. So he give us that grace so that they can pour it, so we be in a position to pour into them to help them on their journey. Because a lot of times it's not about us, it's about positioning and helping somebody else. I'm telling you, it's in that space. So, man, look, I appreciate you guys rocking with your boy today. Hey, make sure y'all go and follow me on YouTube, The Conversation 98, The Conversation 98 on Instagram, The Conversation 98 here on Facebook, The Conversation _98 on TikTok. Make sure y'all go like, follow me on that, man. And hey, I'll continue to pour out, man. I appreciate it, man. And hey, The Conversation 98 still going strong. Episode 220. You guys have a great and wonderful day. God bless.